An impending government shutdown is nearing because Congress can't figure out how to pass a spending bill for this government, and they're trying to create a new omnibus continuing resolution pork monster, which for some reason provides funding for, say, $3 million in testing molasses. You don't know why? Whatever. Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, Trump, 30 members of Congress, they're all saying outright, you know what? This is DOA. If you want to fund the government, single page, easy spending bill. So proposes Vivek Ramaswamy. What I love about this is that while Elon Musk certainly is one of the loudest voices in the civilian side, calling out this pork spending bill, a waste of your money that you didn't vote for because members of Congress are weak-willed. I digress. The media is saying it's Trump and Elon Musk's fault this is happening. Well, I certainly agree that influence can be carried a long way, and being wealthy, powerful, and famous can make you influential. The reality is, Elon Musk is not in front of this. He's behind this. Or he's not behind it. He's in front of it. I don't know, whatever. He's not the one causing it, nor is Donald Trump. Donald Trump tried to put some people in his cabinet. He tried to appoint some individuals, and the internet itself recoiled in horror. We have seen now, in the past month or so, many instances where Trump has backtracked on certain policy positions or personnel because regular people online were like, no. And now we're seeing it again. Here's the deal. The government wants funding. It wants to remain open until March. The idea then that they would try to ram in a bunch of laws and spending for individuals in individual districts and counties, no, it's a no-go. Vivek Ramaswamy says it's simple. You do a single page that says the current funding will continue until March. That's it. We're done. Instead, we have this bloated 1,547 page garbage, which most people can't even read. Here's the best part. Corporate press is lying. They're trying to make it seem like it's completely reasonable. But I'll break it down for you and explain why it's just simply not. I mean, the molasses testing thing is kind of funny. If you want to pass a law giving money to farmers because they do molasses testing, then write it up in a bill and get everyone to vote on it. But I'll tell you what's happening. You see, Congress is a bunch of lazy people. They are lazy. Okay, maybe lazy is not the right word. They are more interested in fundraising for re-election than working on getting things done in Congress. So what ends up happening is, you can sit around and try and negotiate these bills, and you need to get some funding for your constituents. And it's very difficult. So then comes along the continuing resolution. Nobody actually wants to draft a legitimate spending bill to figure out how the government should operate. So they just say, look, just write up whatever you want. What you'll end up getting is some whip or higher ranking member of a party going to one of their members of Congress and saying, are you going to vote yes on this bill? And they go, well, my constituents want millions of dollars in molasses testing. You put that in there and then I'll sign it. And they go, done. What do we care? And so you end up with, instead of just a single page saying, we're going to fund this, they're all ramming in all the things. You know what this reminds me of? Did you guys ever see Bruce Almighty? What a great movie. Jim Carrey, he loathes God. He says it's your fault. And then God comes to him and he says, I will grant you my powers for a while. And Jim Carrey all of a sudden is got the powers of God. But along with those powers comes prayer. And all of a sudden he's hearing all of the prayers of everyone in his city, not even the world, just the city. So you know what he decides to do? He says yes to all. And then what happens? Everybody wins the lottery. So instead of winning any real money, they only get a little bit. All bad things basically just erupt. Somehow multiple sports teams win the same game. It's just insanity. That's what we're getting right here. Instead of actually going through this and saying one by one, here's what we need to do, Congress is basically saying yes to all. And then you end up with weird nonsense. Look, they want to ban AI adult material. That's a law. That's not a funding bill. You see how they're playing these dirty games? In Congress, let me tell you, because we had Marjorie Taylor Greene on explain this to us. She said that when she first got into Congress, she was shocked to find nobody actually votes on bills. It's all fake. And I'm like, well, how is that possible? And she says, you got like 5 Democrats over here and 5 Republicans and a parliamentarian, not even the speaker. And they lift up a bill and they're like, all in favor of this bill. And then, it passes. No one's even there. And so Marjorie said that she, Thomas Massey, a handful of others would call for a floor vote on these bills to force Congress to come into the chamber and do their jobs. But they don't want to. They're too busy sitting in their office, making phone calls saying, I need money. Well, this needs to change. And if the government shuts down, so what? But let's talk about it. From the Washington Post, government shutdown nears after Trump and Musk kill compromise. Congress has dwindling time left to find a new way to extend the current deadline of midnight Saturday. Oh boy, I'm so excited. I hope they don't extend it. Now, I know a lot of people are like, Tim, there's people who work government jobs who are relying on paychecks to come in. And, you know, you've got this conflicting narrative. The people who oppose it say, look, our veterans are going to get paid. But my understanding is that there's a delay in pay, right? They don't get paid immediately. Like their check will not get paid on time and it'll come back later. So I get it, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. All of our current service personnel should get paid on time no matter what. I don't know why we have to have a bill that says you have to agree on this in order to pay people who have signed a contract. That I think is fine. Salaries of individuals who are in the military and service in any way, that's fine. And I'll tell you this, if it's not going to be that way, then right now, any single member of Congress can draft a single page saying in the event of a government shutdown, we will allocate funding to make sure our service personnel are paid on time. Is there a problem? Okay, let me say this. I'm sorry. I do mean it. If you're an individual with a government contract and you were promised something and the government shuts down, you do not deserve a guarantee. When I take a job with any company, your paycheck can bounce. It happens. There's a viral video right now of a guy working at Wendy's, and he says, I haven't got my paycheck in 2 weeks. So he grabs the register and walks out with it. I don't recommend that. The point is, when you work private sector, you have no guarantee the business will keep operating. And it happens a lot. People are working a job, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, the boss comes in and says, we're going out of business. We have no money left. I'm sorry, guys, I can't pay you. What about those people? Is there a government guarantee? Just because you work for the government doesn't mean you should be exempt from market forces or the fact that there are no guarantees in life. Now, I understand we should adhere to our obligations. And if our government makes a promise to pay, it should pay. My point is simply, working for government is no excuse to be immune to the pressures of failure. And this is the problem we have in this country. In the private sector, you can fail. In the government, you can't. The government will just borrow more money. They'll just take on debt, or they'll print money, create it digitally in banks or on the internet. That's what they do. And then we all have to pay inflation for it. You don't get a guarantee. I am sick of this government just deciding that no matter what happens and when, they can manufacture the money and give it to whoever they want, and you are all exempt. Not in the private sector. So here we go. Republicans on Wednesday rejected a plan by House Speaker Mike Johnson for a 3-month stopgap funding extension called a continuing resolution, or CR, with more than $100 billion in aid for natural disaster survivors. House Republican leaders made no significant process overnight to fund the government and avoid a government shutdown this weekend. 2 people familiar with the negotiations said, blah, blah. In scrapping Johnson's plan, Republicans cast doubt on his ability to maintain the speaker's gavel in next year's Congress. Yup. Big mistake. Trump and Elon have come out saying no. If Mike Johnson decides to defy, first of all, Elon is not the boss. He's not the president. He's not co-president. He's a guy with influence, and rightly so. He's very wealthy. He is liked by very many people, and he's on X, and he largely agrees with the majority of the people there. Now, Elon Musk is not a government official. He is simply an avatar representing what a lot of people expect to see. That's it. Much as the left doesn't like it. So I say this. If you're going to defy the popular mandate, which is all of the public who are active in politics and making demands, leading to the victories of Trump and the Republicans, if you're going to defy them, and then Trump himself as the avatar of this anger, you're going to defy him, you deserve to lose the speakership. Goodbye, Mike Johnson. But we'll see. Mike Johnson's been working with Trump, so I think he's probably just going to back down. I love this headline from Rolling Stone. First buddy. Musk kills government funding deal, demands shutdown until Trump is sworn in. Yeah, dude. If you know what I love about this? We get a lot of views here on Timcast. Y'all watch the show. I really do appreciate it. Nobody ever says Tim Pool kills government funding deal, demands shutdown until Trump is sworn in. What's the difference? I know people in the Trump administration. No, it's because Elon Musk is famous. What they're saying is despite the fact that there are many thousands, hundreds of thousands of influential people who agree with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the most famous, therefore it's his fault. Yeah, not interested. Over on Fox News, Trump says he's totally against proposed continuing resolution. This chaos would not be happening if we had a real president. We will in 32 days. Let's go. I got a bunch of stuff to show you that's really funny. But let's start here with a statement from J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. He says the most foolish and inept thing ever done by congressional Republicans was allowing our country to hit the debt ceiling in 2025. It was a mistake, and it's now something that must be addressed. Meanwhile, Congress is considering a spending bill that would give sweetheart provisions for government censors and for Liz Cheney. The bill would make it easier to hide the records of the corrupt January 6th committee, which accomplished nothing for the American people and hid security failures that happened that day. This bill would also give Congress a pay increase while many Americans are struggling this Christmas. It's like a near 40% increase, by the way. Increasing the debt ceiling is not great, but we'd rather do it on Biden's watch. If Democrats won't cooperate on the debt ceiling now, what makes anyone think they would do it in June during our administration? Let's have this debate now. We should pass a streamlined spending bill that doesn't give Chuck Schumer and Democrats everything they want. Republicans want to support our farmers, pay for disaster relief, and set our country up for success in 2025. The only way to do that is with a temporary funding bill without Democrat giveaways, combined with an increase in the debt ceiling. Anything else is a betrayal of our country. Republicans must get smart and tough. If Democrats threaten to shut down the government unless we give them everything they want, then call their bluff. It is Schumer and Biden who are holding up aid to our farmers and disaster relief. This chaos would not be happening if we had a real president. We will in 32 days. Here's CNN. Here's what's in the government funding agreement. I love this because they choose only the best provisions and they leave out the weird stuff, like changing the word offender to justice-involved person. I love that one. And considering it's 1,547 pages, it's really hard to figure out what they're trying to do. CNN says disaster aid funding, $100 billion to help the people struggling with the hurricane, the natural disasters. That's why we have to do this. That's the game they play because they're evil. So they come out and they go to certain reps and they say, if you vote no on this, you're voting no on disaster relief. And what do you think your constituents are going to say? And they're like, I guess we have to do it. The funny thing is, following the massive backlash, many of these reps realized the backlash for supporting it was bigger than against it, and so they fell in line. Good, rightly so. They say economic aid for farmers, $10 billion. Well, our farmers need the aid. Okay. Reforms for pharmacy benefit managers. Well, okay, I guess. I don't know. And then says Maryland bridge funding to rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Interesting. Partially, it would be fully funded by the federal government. It allowed the Treasury Department to recoup money from any settlements related to the bridge's collapse, control over RFK Stadium, and pay raises for lawmakers. Yeah, they want to raise their salaries to, I think, $243,000 or something like this. It doesn't actually state, does it? Yeah, they're. You see what CNN is doing? They're glossing over what they're actually doing here. It's a hefty pay increase, nearly 40%. Criminalizing revenge porn. What? Why is that in there? A bipartisan bill that criminalizes the publication of non-consensual intimate imagery, and they're conflating revenge with deepfake. This is about deepfake, not revenge. This is about anyone, anywhere, making a computer-generated image of a person doing adult activities. Now, I certainly think it's disgusting, and we as a society should not tolerate it, but it is weird, nonetheless, to jam that into a continuing resolution funding bill. It's not. All this is someone said, if you want me to vote yes, give me my bill. Then I can go around and say I got it done. Weird. Here we go. Natalie Winter says the CR Omnibus expands the Pandemic All Hazards Preparedness Act, allowing for vaccine and mask mandates, vaccine passports, intentional emergency powers, and gain-of-function research. Do we really, really want that? Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency over bird flu. Do we really want that? Here we go. From Benjamin Way or Weingarten. I'm like, his name's getting cut off. Benjamin Way. In the dead of night, just before Christmas in the next year, Congress is trying to extend a key cog in the censorship industrial complex. It would be absolutely egregious to let the Global Engagement Center live for another year. In fact, this is an organization being sued, a function of government being sued by the Federalist and the Daily Wire for censorship. Indeed. And they want us to spend money on that. 30 House Republicans have now come out against the 1,547-page continuing resolution spending bill that funds the government. So bravo to these individuals. You got Corey Mills, Thomas Massey, Tim Burchett, Nancy Mays, Bob Good, Chip Roy, Lauren Boebert, Eli Crane, Michael Cloud, Andy Ogles, Andy Biggs, Paul Gosar, Eric Bronson, Keith Self, Ralph Norman, Andrew Clyde, Dan Bishop, Ralph Norman twice, Wesley Hunt, Warren Davidson, Kat Kamek, Kevin Kiley, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jeff Van Drew, Matt Rosendale, Tom Tiffany, Victoria Sparts, Randy Weber, and Tom White. So I don't know, is that 29 or did you just double up a name accidentally? I don't know. Either way, I'm glad to see. However, if enough Republicans and Democrats come together on this one, it just happens. And boy, they might. I'd like to give an honorable mention to our good friend Kyle Kalinske, who's lost his mind. And he's made I don't know where he got this, but he posted an AI image of Elon Musk being sworn in with Donald Trump holding the Bible. Then you have him posting another unhinged image, a comic where Elon and JD are in a car and Trump's in the back wheel playing with a fake steering wheel. And they said, so cute, he thinks he's steering. And then you have another one. Man, Kyle, what is going on with your brain? And it's Elon Musk with Trump on puppet strings. Dude, I just, there's no coherent argument here. That's it. And the only response that these liberal personalities have had is that an unelected billionaire is secretly controlling government. Is that the only thing they can do? Oh, these people are so stupid. It's frustrating how dumb they are. Donald Trump has been doing this well before Elon got involved. The idea that Elon's secretly in control is silly. In fact, if Elon wasn't in control, Trump would come out hard and just say, we're going to ban TikTok because TikTok is competition for X. But that's not it. Elon wants to get things done. Elon, the same as literally any other person who realized, Kyle, y'all are insane and you're liars. And now let me pull up Elizabeth. Let me see if I can find Elizabeth Warren's tweet. X post, sorry, her post on X, where she's basically, I don't know what she posted, or corporate profits, blah, 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 co-president. She's got a bunch of these things. It's just the stupidest thing ever. This is what they're doing. Elon Musk owns SpaceX, Tesla, and X, a major government contractor. As co-president, he can steer billions of federal dollars towards his own companies. How can we be sure that what he's whispering to Trump is for the good of the country and not for the good of himself? Don't care. Shut your mouth. I can't stand these people. It's I don't know, insufferable. I'll put it that way. When Trump won, you had what's his face on CNBC or MSNBC or whatever. He was like, what's the guy's name? I can't even remember because he's so irrelevant. And man, I really don't remember his name. One of their anchors, he was like, Elon Musk thought he was going to be co-president, but now he's not. And it was like, okay, yeah, that was never a thing. You made that up. And now that these moves are being made, they're once again now acting like we never said that. Lawrence O'Donnell, that's the guy. Yeah, he was like, Elon thought he was going to be co-president. No, that never happened. That's something liberals made up. Elon never said that. That's the crazy world they live in. Well, here we go. AOC says Republicans are trying to shut down the government because they want to set up massive tax cuts for the rich next year while cutting Social Security and Medicare. They know Americans don't support that, so they're holding the entire government hostage to try to force it. No. Now, hold on there a minute. I'm getting a tax cut? Oh, well, gee, now I'm even more in support of it. Great, let's go. The funny thing is, Trump didn't give the wealthy a tax cut. He gave everybody a tax cut. It's just that the left lied about it. Famously, Matthew Iglesias says progressive messaging was great. Despite the fact that Trump did cut middle-class taxes, they're convinced he didn't. These people are evil. They want you to keep paying taxes to fund their crap, their pork. And then we're left wondering why our prices are going up. What I love about the demand for a pay raise from some of these people, these members of Congress, I don't think it's unfair to argue that after a certain amount of time, you need a pay raise for certain positions. The issue is Congress is at fault for inflation. They're the ones who are passing these bills with pork in it that is destroying the economy. It's their fault. I don't care if it's a Republican or Democrat. Cry more. And then the idea that they're like, well, now we need a pay raise because of inflation. Well, maybe you should be more responsible with the money being borrowed and spent in this country and the spending you are doing. It's resulting in inflation. The Inflation Reduction Act increased inflation. One of the Krasenstein bros, liberals, you know him, you love him. He said, we had a mandate from 2020 as well with Joe Biden winning. I'm like, you did? Yeah, I completely agree. And boy, what did you do with that? You screwed that one up. I don't think the mandate from the people was to exacerbate international conflicts, open up our southern border, and destroy our economy. I believe there was a mandate. They thought that we were going to get things back on track because the economy was actually in trouble during COVID. And they said, we want Democrats to try and get this COVID thing under wraps. Instead, we got war, conflict, crisis, an open border, and inflation. And so people voted for Donald Trump because the mandate exists. The mandate is the same as it always is. Get price under control, help our families, help our jobs, no wars. And now we have a mandate for Trump. The mandate tends to stay the same. So AOC, cry more about it. Vivek says the failed CR bill tried to sneak in salary increases and health benefits for congressmen and senators while they are blowing hard-earned taxpayer money on special interests. We can disagree on policy, Chris Murphy, but don't use our troops as a smokescreen for your own salary hike. This is the dirty game they play, but our troops. Vivek says, here's how you do a one-page continuing resolution. It says, Section 1 short title, the Continuing Appropriations Act of 2025 is amended by striking the date specified in Section 106.3 and inserting March 14, 2025. That's it. That's all you need. You're done. But they want to put in weird things like criminalizing AI adult images, which is like, if you want to pass that bill, make a bill. That's weird. Polymarket says there's a 33% chance Mike Johnson will be out as speaker before Donald Trump is inaugurated. Which makes sense because the new Congress is sworn in on the 3rd, and then there's going to be January 6th, and so they'll be voting on a new speaker, so it's entirely possible. I think it's entirely possible Mike Johnson is out, depending on what he does here. We don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the government shutdown is coming. And you know what? So be it. You know what's funny is there was a funny quote by Bannon when he talked about this a long time ago. I forget what the quote was, but it's funny that government shutdowns largely do not impact the average person. It is only the corrupt, whinging swamp class in this country that are really, really upset about it. Oh, no, government shutdown. You know what, man? So be it. I prefer a government shutdown over dysfunction any day. No government is better than swamp government. And I understand people are going to say, but Tim, my paycheck. Yeah, well, look. I feel bad for you. I really do. I don't want anybody to go without eating or whatever. Promises made should be kept. And if you are working a job and the government says they're going to pay you, they should. But I don't believe it's fair to say that your job should be exempt from market forces. If my company goes out of business and I go broke, and what do I get? Are y'all going to pass a bill saying, well, we can't let Tim go to business? Of course not. So why is it then that when the people demand the government stop the pork, anybody would say, I deserve special access? In this world, nothing is guaranteed. And I know that's a harsh reality, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that a guy who just lost his job when his construction firm went under is somehow less deserving than a guy who works for the post office who loses his job because the government. And you know what's funny is it's temporary too. Temporary. Nothing is guaranteed, man. Smash the like button or don't, whatever. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Comment. Let me know what you think. Because I know a lot of people don't like government shutdowns, and I hear it a lot every time this happens. But, let us know what you think. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we'll see you all in the next segment.